start, David.
Very good. All right. So, well, hi, everyone. My name is David or David Calvo. I'm the team leader for the IURC branch of North America. So good morning to everyone in America and good afternoon to those in Europe and elsewhere around there. Welcome to this virtual room today where on ecological transition and Green Deal, where today, precisely the IURC North America branch of the program will be kind of officially kicking off the networking activities of one of our three main thematic clusters, the one for renovation wave and energy efficiency. So that's something that we're going to be hopefully planting today and following up in the months and a couple of years to come. I'm joined today by the good part of my team with Susana Arellano, who will be co-hosting with me, and hi, and with Blerina Karimi, who's working behind the scenes to make all this magic happen. So thank you both. And actually, I would like you, Susana, if you can say hi and lead us through some of the instructions for today, that'd be great.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, David, for the introduction. So I'm Susana Arellano. I know many of you. I am the IURC North America Sustainable Urban Development Expert. And we, for all of those that are connecting not from the US and Canada, or those in Europe who do not speak English, we have translation. So Blerina, can you show us the next slide? If you would like to activate translation, please go to the Interactio app on your phone, download it, then so enter the code IURC 2021, enter the room Ecological Transition and Green Deal, and you will be able to hear the session. Just remember to mute your computer. Para todos aquellos que se están conectando y que quisieran tener la traducción, pueden bajar en su teléfono el app de Interactio. Después pueden poner ahí el código IURC 2021. Pongan buscar y seleccionen la opción de Ecological Transition and Green Deal. Van a tener que escuchar la sesión por su teléfono y recuerden quitar el audio de la computadora. Adelante, David.
Thanks very much, Susana. That makes me miss again the days when we would just walk into a big place and open a door and hear people or mingle. But anyway, hoping those will come back soon. Thank you very much for the instructions, and I hope that the technology doesn't get between you and the messages for today. Now, we're going to have like two main sides to this session today. First, we're going to have a couple of presentations from two keynote speakers that I'll introduce to you in a second. You'll have time there. You can, well, actually, what I would like you to do, since you're there, and we know many of you, but if you can very quickly in the chat, just state your city of origin, just under your name, if you can chat your city or metropolitan area, or region of origin, that'd be great. So we know who you are, where you come from. While we get these two presentations, you will have the opportunity in the chat to perhaps come up with questions, or if you feel so inclined, at the end of the presentations, we'll open some brief periods for you to raise your hand and we can open a microphone for you to shoot with your questions to them. They're going to be both related to our main topic today on Green Deal and ecological transition and its impact at two different levels. Jerker Johnson from Slobodnia will talk to us from a regional point of view, while Agnes Schonfelder will do it from Mannheim. We'll do it from a municipal level. So I think we can go ahead with no further delay, and we'll start at regional level from Ostrovodnia in Finland with Mr. Jerker Johnson. Jerker, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Can you put up my slide? Yes, I was. Thank you for this opportunity. And thinking on a topic, I would start on drawing on our experiences on working with smart specialization, and also the perspectives that we have in a partnership that I have been leading in the Baltic Sea called GRETA. This has nothing to do with the Swedish lady, but this GRETA is an acronym for Green Transition. When we'll be thinking on this. If you go to next, please. I mean, if you look on the future, on the big picture, we have a report from the Global Room from 2018, and they are looking on two scenarios. They are putting the business as usual, and that scenario will lead to a Malthusian development where you have less resources and falling living standards. And then you have a smarter second scenario that is built on what we could think of green shift, where regions should innovate and create a green growth. And I guess the reality of the future will be a combination of these two scenarios, and the policy should be targeted towards that. As many as possible regions goes for the smarter scenario, goes for regional innovations, and goes for green innovations. Please, next. If you look on the globalization historically wise, I mean, that has contributed to that fact that we have less poverty in the world, absolute poverty than we ever had, and that is very, very positive development, of course. But that has happened on the expense of the environment, and now it's coming abundantly evident that we have to take down our CO2 emissions for the future of the world, of the planet. And then the question comes that how should we do that? And of course, if you look on the rich countries, they could compensate the poor countries from a moral standpoint of view, as was discussed in Glasgow recently. But that is very difficult to do. I mean, because in the rich countries you have poor people as well, and then vice versa, you have rich people in poor countries. And it's very difficult to do for the political pressures. And then the solution, there is not one solution to this, but I'm speaking about the tools that we do have. And in Europe, we have the tools of smart specialization, of regional innovations, and that is also being used in Latin America. And then the question is that all innovations are not good for the environment, and how do we go from smart specialization, from regional innovations to sustainable innovations? Next, please. Can you have the next? Yeah. First, you know, if we have to look on what is driving this globally, and this is happening very much by I would say multinational companies sense making. We have political pressures. We had the European Green Deal, where a lot of money being spent in Europe, and also in the rest of the world. And we are also seeing in our regions that we are seeing changes in how the world is taking place. We got foreign direct investments on battery factories. We are having tendencies of having uses of going from reuse to circular economy, and that is also forming new challenges for the regional governance and the policies. And then comes the question that how should we work with this, and how should we benefit from this beneficial level. So we need to work in as a regional government, and that is supposed to before we need to work as well in a private public partnership with the companies, but we also have to understand the dynamics and what is happening on a European level, on a global level, and knowing that this will affect us very much in the future. So it's a target for us when formulating the policies. Please, next. So what we are doing, and the idea of how we're thinking on formulating the policy is to have a co-creation first, but also that promoting an urgency, a legitimacy, and the power of the stakeholders. So the way forward that we are working on is that we go in detail in the different value chains, and we look on the different steps on the value chain and the stakeholders in them, and ask what kind of urgency do we have for the Green Deal, what are the legitimacy, and what kind of powers do they have to do, and how can we affect that with our policy measures. We see also, we have experienced, that we have having smart specialization and co-creation locally or regionally, And we are also seeing that it's affecting the business sense making. I mean, the whole green transition are political signals that are sent to big companies from the European Union, from the taxonomy, and from US and also China. We need to change, but we need to do exactly the same thing regionally as well to be a part of that transition, and to get a mindset of a transition, and then of course to organize ourselves in corresponding ways. Please, next. Okay, here's just an example that we are trying to measure the companies, the stakeholders. I put them as companies now, but what we are looking on to do that, what was your urgency, what your legitimacy, and what was your power. We reflect the Green Deal now and 5 years ago, in a way just to see how can we affect them with the policy instruments that we're using. How can we use spatial planning? How can we use the fund available to us to affect these companies in each case? Because the Green Deal, it's not one deal, it's a summary of very, very many deals all over the world. Please, next. If we see on the conflicting lines of this, what we have observed, and where the difficulties lies in the very divisive development, because you cannot avoid that this is a big transition, and like every transition is that it does have winners and losers, and we should try to look into that. We have as many winners as possible, and that as many regions in Europe and outside Europe can be drawn into the transition to not falling back into poverty again. And we see, for instance, in Lithuania, that the export-oriented industries, they are more positive. They can get the knowledge on how to produce in a more ecological friendly way. And they also have clients that are prepared to pay for it, while the domestic sector are only feeling the increasing cost of higher energy prices. We also see the political processes versus policy processes, that many times political processes draws on difficulties and threats. We know who are the losers in the processes. They have names, nombres y apellidos. We know who they are, and they know it themselves, and they're usually very active in the process as well. And we have to some sort of compensate them, even if there's no money that can compensate them, but just to have a co-creation, to try to have policies to help them to see opportunities also in the change. I think this is maybe the most important thing of it also. Capacity building for discoveries versus extortions. I mean, it's possible that some regions will be blocked by internal conflicts, and we have to look in how we can work with that. And then we need bigger capacity of the public sector. The Green Deal, the change is very much linked to public planning. It's linked to spatial planning. It's linked to proactiveness of the public sector, like in the case of the smart specialization. And we need to have more of that. And I think we can support each other by a dialogue, like in programs like this, but we can also have ideas. But ideas is not only ideas, but also development, inspiration. And then there's a question about big companies and SMEs. What we are seeing on the Green Deal, that this is being driven very much by multinational companies. They are very active. You have all companies that have decided to become energy companies because they see that the future is not fossil. But we sort of have to take care also of the small companies, and we have to make better support structures for the small companies, so they can also engage in the Green Deal and not having a big divisive development as a result of this Green Deal. So I've used my 10 minutes, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It is definitely a challenge, and I want to remark very briefly two very short things. One, just to remark that how you brought the idea that transnational benchmarking really may serve as an inspiration to other people to follow, lead, etc., etc. So I really have a bit of a question. Have you had a specific experience perhaps already in international exchange through this program or others, or just your own initiative?
No, it's well, we have been working with Tierra del Fuego last time within the this program, with the EUC program.
Okay.
And I think we have shared our views with them, but we have also, when you get the delegation from Tierra del Fuego, everybody is trying to shape up a little bit, and even if you have to explain something in another context, you are also learning yourself, okay. and so I think this is very useful. I've been working a lot before in the field of statistics, and holding hands, colleagues working together, that is very, very beneficial, even if you don't have any ideas, but just to have it as a development inspiration, okay, for each other.
Okay. And the other aspect that I come from the private sector in the old days, and in Europe, most companies are SMEs, and although you hear yes. everything about your initiatives and your policies dealt with transnational big companies and all that, they're the big cases obviously for the press and to lead the trend. But have you thought through a specific policy or strategy that can help engage SMEs? Because that's quite a leap.
That's a leap, and even with Tierra del Fuego, there was opportunities on the construction sector and so on. And we tried to contact a few companies, said thank you very much, but we don't have the resources for that. That the leap is too big for us. And then you have to put in relevant support structures that can help them, yeah, and get that, and also linking them with MNEs, with bigger companies, trying to, okay, that they can internalize through the bigger companies maybe.
Okay. Well, for not only for you but for those attending today, please, when we go down to the real in-life, in-person exchanges between cities and regions, we really hope that you think of the private sector, especially SME representatives, and bring them on board. We are very happy when we see, sectorial chambers of commerce, sectorial clusters. They could be water, energy, construction, whatever. Something happens when they turn up, and you can bring many SMEs, but you can bring the representatives, and sometimes that's really enriching. So we'll be looking forward to facilitate that kind of access to them. Okay, when we're going to start doing this and all that, please make sure from all the attendants, and many of you come from cities we work with, we make sure that the private sector knows about the program and we can get them on board. Okay. So, but anyway, Jerker, thank you very much. Stay around.
Thank you.
I'm sure there'll be more for you later. And then,
and David, just a very quick reminder before we go to the next presentation, that people can actually enter the questions into the chat, and we will be either asking them ourselves, or we will give you the floor so that you can ask it directly to the panelists. Yeah. So while we hear Agnes' presentation, just keep in mind that you can enter questions for Jerker and for Agnes. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Susanna. Yeah, feel free to dig in. So after Ostrobotnia as a region, we have the pleasure to have with us today Agnes Schoenfelder. Made a real effort, personal effort, to be here today, and we thank you for it. Honestly, we appreciate it. We'll be digging into the same topic, but coming from a municipal level. Mannheim is obviously a leading city in this field. We know it, and we really thank you for sharing your ideas with us today. Please, Agnes, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Hello from Mannheim, Germany. So we are a pilot city for a local Green Deal, and it's a real honor to start here as a keynote speaker, because that means that I have to break the ice a little bit for the local Green Deal idea, and you are expecting, I think, that I introduce the topic local Green Deal in an exciting way. I try to do it as I do every time. So as a spokesperson for a local Green Deal, storytelling and campaigning is an almost daily task for me, because communication is the most important means to mobilize stakeholders. Without communication, you cannot move anybody. So every story has a beginning, and the local Green Deal has run its course in Mannheim with a Mannheim message. And a good story has a good ending where everyone is happy. And that is what the European Green Deal and the local Green Deals in the city are all about. Livable, green, clean, and healthy cities where no one is left behind. So the European Green Deal acts as a booster, I like this word, for cities' sustainability and climate strategy. And this is also reflected in the Mannheim message, which we adopted last year during the Mannheim 2020 conference on sustainable cities and towns. And we see the localization of the European Green Deal as a great opportunity because it helps us to focus more on our local policies and to accelerate our already begun transformation process with our vision statement, Mannheim 2030. And that is ideal for Mannheim. I choose that title. Ideal is an intentionally a little double meaning. So firstly, we want to make Mannheim a place worth living in, ideal. And secondly, it means I vote for Mannheim, ideal. In other words, a personal commitment. Next slide, please. So 1 year after the Mannheim message, it's more than clear for all of us there are no two crises side by side, one of the environment and one of the society, but it is a single and a complex socio-ecological crisis. And the COVID-19 pandemic shows us that the situation is now even more difficult. But it also offers an opportunity to accelerate the change. And the pandemic has clearly triggered a rethinking of the way we live and do business. And that is also the local Green Deal or the EU Green Deal. Mannheim has positioned itself as a pilot city for a local Green Deal that unites and concretizes at the same time the sustainability and the climate goals, focuses on socially just transformation, uses funding and financing opportunities in a targeted manner, and integrates international commitments and networks, like today and at the COP26. So in Glasgow, the mayor of Mannheim, Peter Kurz, introduced our concept of local Green Deals as a comprehensive approach for cities to realize their potential and implement ambitious local climate action. So, and for this necessary transformation of our economy and the way of life towards a climate neutrality, we need the right decisions in the right time. We need transparent policies and enabling processes. So cities cannot achieve the climate targets alone, no matter how ambitious they are as a pilot city or a model city. And that's why is that the local Green Deal also calls for goal-oriented agreements between the municipal and the national, as well as the international levels. So for the design of our local Green Deal in Mannheim, we can already draw on a corresponding transformation culture as a city of citizen participation. So all projects and plans of the city and the city-owned companies are listed on a city's participation platform and provided with a tailor-made co-creation participation. So we invite all stakeholders from the city to get involved and develop ideas and contributions for the local Green Deals together. And these agreements are not empty promises, but concrete commitments. In cities, both the concrete local problem situation and the local competences come together, so finding solutions together, and that is ideal. Next slide. But how we are doing that exactly, how we use the local Green Deal as a framework to boost our integrated sustainability and climate policy. You see in the bubbles on the left side, the 8 action fields of the EU Green Deal. And the city of Mannheim's newly established local Green Deal office, where I am the spokesoffice of, has been investigating the potential for deals in all urban projects over the last few months. So these span all 8 policy areas outlined in the European Green Deal. It is going about biodiversity, sustainable food systems, sustainable agriculture, clean energy, sustainable industry, building and renovating, sustainable mobility, eliminating pollution, and climate action. So every deal in these action fields we make in these areas, and often spanning several areas, brings us one step closer to our goal of climate neutrality. And this is how the course is set for a green, healthy, and clean city. At the city level, the Climate Action Plan Mannheim 2030 and the Mobility Plus Master Plan 2035, about biodiversity strategy and a plastic strategy are currently being developed under these action fields. And these form the basis and at the same time the objectives for concrete deals. But the many solutions outlined in the Green Deal can only be successful if they are socially just and fair, and if citizens, communities, businesses, SMEs, organizations contribute alongside politicians and legislators. That is the right side of the picture. The 3 comprehensive action fields of the local Green Deal: it's knowledge, research, innovation, it is just transition, and it's mobilization of the urban society. And that is always going only with action and with our stakeholders. Ideal for Mannheim. Next slide. So the local Green Deal Mannheim, with the local Green Deal Mannheim, we are looking for concrete contributions. So deals in form of actions, measures, or target commitments in the 8 fields of action. And many measures are already being taken forward with our Climate Action Agency, where I am the CEO. I'm the CEO. And so the agency offers local funding programs for energy refurbishment, greening, and solar installation, for example. So we can make good use of these excellent structures for the local Green Deal. So we are in the progress of preparing of our Climate Action Plan 2030 with an agreed goal of climate neutrality, which we want to achieve as early as 2030. For this purpose, we have founded 7 thematic strategy groups with actors from the urban society as well as the Citizen Council. And the campaign you see on the right side of the slide, with our visions, we move mountains for the Climate Action Plan 2030 shows our ambition in this. Of course, we are only literally moving mountains to Mannheim, as you can see in the fake picture, but with the LGD, we can move people. Next slide. So how exactly do we get to the concrete deals in the 8 action fields? Here are a few examples. You see, for every of the 8 action fields, we have done a lot of work. So we have looked on our strategies, plans, and objectives we are doing in the cities. And we did a potential analysis on it. So we started by the EU target, over the national target and implementation on the national, on the state level, and on the local level. And then we looked how does it fit to the action field and to the local Green Deal overarching goal of climate neutrality, sustainability, and inclusive cities. And so we identified over 150 deal potentials within these strategies of the city. Next slide. 2 examples from the action field ambitious climate targets. The first deal is a target deal I mentioned already. So the City Council decided that our new strategic goal on climate neutrality moves from 2050 to 2030. And it has to be the foundation of the Climate Action Plan 2030. And the City Council decided that Mannheim will participate in the mission 100 Climate Neutral Cities 2030 by and for the citizens, and create the condition for a successful participation. We are working now already on this. The call is going out, I think, in 2 days. Next slide. Another 2 examples from the field of action, clean, affordable, and secure energy. So we are a major industrial city location, and we have the largest hard coal-fired power plant in Germany. So the local Green Deal Mannheim therefore places a special focus on projects for the transformation of industry and the decarbonization of the energy production as part of a just transformation. So the top power plant supplies more than 60% of the inhabitants with district heating, and that is really a landmark deal to replace the heat supply well before 2050 in direction 2030 by river heat, geothermal and biomass. And another deal is together with our city-owned company, Smart City. It is to supply all municipal buildings, schools, offices, and so on, with over 40 megawatt peak solar energy for climate neutral administration by 2027. Next slide. Two green deals, green transition deals. This is from the action field ecosystems and biodiversity. The first one is on our former military used conversion site, Spinelli Barracks, 82-hectare area, and we will there have the National Garden Show in the year of 2023. And after that, it will remain as a permanent green corridor northeast. So almost 3/4 of this area will be unsealed and be green in the future, bringing Mannheim residents more fresh air and quality of life. The second one is a part of the Trees in Cities Challenge. So the city of Mannheim planted in the forest this year over 83,000 trees, and will plant again in the next year till the end of January another 30,000 trees to make our sustainable management of urban forest to drive it further. So next slide. And I'm at the end. I hope I'm in time. So it's never too late to ignite your own transformation, ideal for Mannheim. But as you can see from the many examples of concrete deals, everything is interrelated. That's why all the strategy and plans that the city makes have to be considered in an integrated way, and the measures have to be coordinated with each other. This requires good structure and also a transformation culture, and that's why I choose that picture. This brings us back to the story of the local Green Deal, ideal for Mannheim. For each person living in a livable city means something different. On any given day, we all make decisions that can affect our quality of life. Every decision is a small deal for a sustainable lifestyle. Whether we buy regional or seasonal food, plant a tree, do without disposable packaging, or take the bicycle instead of the car. Like this elderly lady, 80 years old, from our Spare Your Car project. She showed in the casting for the project that she would rather have fresh air than car exhaust fumes. With the local Green Deal, we bring fresh air into our city administrations and our strategies. So it's never too late to ignite your own transformation, ideal not only for Mannheim, but also for your city. And so the story ends for now, to be continued until the city is livable for all. Thank you very much.
Well, Agnes, thank you so much. That was, God, that was a great presentation. Gave me a lot of thought, and I had my own questions, but I see there are some other questions here. And all I want to say before I open the floor to a couple of questions for you is congratulations. Congratulations on your leadership in this and your good work. Mannheim is not only a pilot; it's taken the challenge of of leading the course in this field, and we're delighted to have you on board sharing it. So I like very much to see how you are thinking very specifically of messages in communication, like ideal. I really like the ideal thing. Honestly, it's catchy, it's good, and it tells that there is a will of the city behind this, which is great. There's a full strategy and a full campaign behind it, which is excellent. And also turning the Green Deal, which is a challenge, and Jerker was saying very much about it, about all the challenges that are there, to turn them into opportunities to move ahead. I think it's a great approach. So thank you very much for that, and really good presentation. I have a couple of questions. I had Ana Contreras asking what are the paths selected for increasing climate ambition? I think you brought up some of them, but which ones? What would you like to remark perhaps as your main paths or your main ways to increase climate ambition?
We live in, if I start, I mean, we live in a very complex world, and it's very difficult. For instance, should I use my last money to buy an electrical car? Is it good or bad? Well, it depends on how the electricity is being produced. Is it good to burn waste for energy? Well, it depends on what the rest are doing in the energy matrix and of the region, and that means that we cannot avoid to make mistakes, but we have to have committed stakeholders and an organization that learns fast on the mistakes. So we have the concept in Europe of the smart specialization and of the entrepreneurial discovery process. And you have so to orchestrate that and to ask all the time that this is the best question, have a self-evaluation and try to work as possible, as fast as possible. Because it's very hard to see what the external effects are. So I think that you need committed stakeholders and an evaluating format very fast. Thank you.
Yeah. Agnes, what are your views on this?
Okay, the question was, what is a main challenge for climate neutrality and the way we are going? We are just in a progress for the climate action plan. So we analyzed all the measures, and we know that the decarbonization of the heat system is a main part. So because it is electricity and heat what we get delivered from the power plant. So it's combined heat and power plant. So that is the main challenge to make it together as a socially just transformation, and to hold the prices for energy on a level that everybody can pay the price. And the second one is the buildings. So to refurbish all the buildings, also the private buildings. So to accelerate the refurbishment rate, to double it, because it's really low. And electricity, PV panels, biomass, geothermal, and so on energy to use in a really large scale, because we need a lot of it for the power plant, yes, and to greening the city as a carbon sink to make our forests climate stable and so on.
Yeah, we saw a couple of projects there from your site. That's great. Thanks a lot. I'm good. Yeah.
We lost David. And we also see another question here in the chat that it's actually interesting, because something that we have been trying to do with this program is really linking many of you, the delegates and the cities, exchanging knowledge around these topics. And we see here Anna-Karin Jansson that added some comments in the chat. So if there are any actors, cities and regions present in this session with contacts to experts and institutions interested in sustainable design as part of a circular economy discussion, to please share your information in the chat. We will also be very happy to facilitate those conversations. So please add all of the information. And finally, we have Pablo's question, but I think, Pablo, we already answered the one for the coal power plant, but we can go to the next one. So for private households, do you have any tools to support them? And I think, Agnes, you know that that's a very sensitive topic, and we're gonna also try to have a little bit of discussion around that during the second part of this session. What subsidies or what help, what methodologies do you have to help those private households?
Yes, I mentioned it. I'll make it short. So we have the Climate Action Agency. It stands for Action. So we have 3 local subsidy programs for energy refurbishment for the households, and for greening the facades and the roofs, and for unsealing areas around your house, and to install PV panels. And we have a lot of campaigns for sustainable lifestyle, disposables, and so on. We are going into schools, support everyone to get involved into the transition and to make it happen for themselves.
Very much, Agnes. And I think Oh, this is also an interesting question from Pablo. What about cooperatives? Are there any programs that you're working with cooperatives? He was asking specifically PV panels, which you already had mentioned, but I don't know if there are any specific around, I think, organizing in neighborhoods and these groups that may have founded some private entities so that they could have probably a lot more access to refurbishing their buildings, for example.
Yeah, we work together with energy cooperatives. It is not our own cooperative. It's coming from around, from the region. They have some roof panels in Mannheim as well. And we have own initiatives and SMEs for PV panels. They include the inhabitants in the quarters, in the urban quarters, in the projects. We have a urban quarter management to deal with not only the energy transition, but social transition, and to bring it together. So yeah, it's a main part of our work to work with the neighborhoods and to translate the policy into action, and to allow them to be part of it, not only to get knowledge about climate and so on. They know already a lot, but to give an opportunity to take the ownership of a project. And I think a local Green Deal, a deal, is the highest level of ownership you can get in a co-creative participation.
Thank you. That was an amazing answer, and I think it's a great one to close this part of the discussion. David, back to you.
Yeah, sorry about that. This is a sudden glitch. I disappeared for a minute, and but I got most of what you said there, Agnes, and thank you very much. And I already saw, Susanna, you were mentioning that previous proposal from Nova Scotia from Anna Karen Johnson, but that's something I think we can go straight into Mentimeter, yeah? So yes. Shall we go there? We're gonna thank you so much, Agnes and Jerker. Please stay around. We're gonna do another half hour of more interactive and everything, but you're definitely our stars today, and anything you can add to the whole thing would be very, very valuable for us. What we're gonna do is basically we're going to be using Mentimeter. I don't know if you've had it. Some of you have been in our previous webinar and we used it already. But anyway, what's going to happen now, Susanna is the master here. She will give you some instructions. I hope you enjoy it. It's very much about interaction and about how you can now be part of this and start bringing your own challenges and your own solutions or your ideas or your questions into a kind of working group. So Susanna, lead us through it. How's it going to?
Thank you. Thank you, Blarina. So now you can see on your screen the QR code. So you can either use Mentimeter through your phone, or you can actually do it through the Hopin website where you are right now. So on the right side, you will see next to the chat and people tabs, one that it's called Mentimeter. And there you will be asked to enter the code. So please enter the code 598893331 and submit. And you will be already in. As you can see, we are seeing some love there. You can press the heart and see it interacting already in your screen. So can we go to the next slide, Blarina? Thank you. And we know that we already asked you this question when you were just connecting, but we know some people arrived later or some people were shy and did not want to put it in the chat. Here, it's anonymous, so feel free to just add, where are you coming from? What city? Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. If anyone's having trouble with it, you can perhaps tell us in a chat. It should be fairly straightforward. Even a true boomer like myself eventually managed to to do it. Yeah.
It's wonderful to see such representation from the US, Canada, and Europe, Latin America. Wonderful. One more second. Thank you. And we'll move on to the next slide. And it's your turn, David.
Okay, so basically, as I told you at the very beginning of this session today, this is a bit, or it could be considered like the kickoff meeting or session for what we're going to be consider or be building as a thematic cluster on renovation wave and energy efficiency. So this is very important for us, and we hope it is valuable to you too. We want to gather, this is a very wide area where there can be many challenges. I mean, you can find, we found some, exactly, retrofitting homes, for example. That's a classic one. We're finding where cities are interested in developing policies, perhaps even subsidized programs. Who knows, whatever goes towards a renovation wave and energy efficiency. So if you can please share with us some of your main challenges in your cities. What we'll do is over the next couple of minutes, we'll be grouping them under very similar topics, and we'll come up with your top favorite, say 5 or 6. I don't know how many we're putting up, but we'll put something up that will become the top challenges for us to address and to comment and to bring some knowledge about, or even some solutions, etc. So it is now the moment where you can go into that, increasing green and blue areas in cities, of course, sustainable neighborhoods, absolutely. Retrofitting, it's a word that's coming up in several places now. So please feel free to just, in your own words, social affordability and climate justice-oriented projects. There is a strong factor about equality, social inclusion, and yet moving ahead with an agenda towards net emissions, zero emissions, and all that. So that's an interesting, very interesting point to take into account. Intensification of urban forest. I'm in Ottawa, and I'll tell you that is a big challenge here, and it has to be very close to the hearts of policymakers or city planners. Coordinated with ongoing green initiatives, technology, always there, sustainable science-based solutions. How do we find the right balance between technology and building, construction standards, etc., that are affordable and can be equitable, not to get in the way of progress. So how do we move ahead in that direction? I suppose that has to do a bit with administrative procedures. How far do we go down the road in providing a framework? What else do we have there? Pocket parks have been launched with very engaged citizen NGOs. Okay. Heritage. I'll tell you, especially not only in Europe, we find it here. I think we have someone from Nova Scotia, St. John's, for example, beautiful places to preserve and yet to move ahead in energy efficiency. How do we manage that? Not to mention, obviously, the old cities of Europe who want to maintain their character, their history, and preserve their assets, and yet move ahead in energy efficiency through retrofitting or implementing technology in the buildings. How do we manage that? Okay, there are quite a few things there. Affordability, that brings Susanna the factor of funding, how this is going to be subsidized, how can it be done? Okay. Okay, I think we have quite a few. Do you think there, Susanna, we have enough to build a little chart with the top topics? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, you can keep increased waste from deliveries, rise in e-commerce. Yes. No, totally. Waste management is our fourth wheel. We have 3 thematic clusters, but I'll tell you, waste management, and plastic reduction. I know you were mentioning it, Agnes, and I really hope that Mannheim joins our open forum on plastic waste reduction. There will be an in-person event in Canada next year. That's key to move ahead in the green agenda. Saving the bees. Well, that blew my mind a bit. I'm sorry. I don't know what to
That's a big one.
I hope you're better than me on that one. I will know what your main titles are. Increasing for deliverers. Okay. So Susanna, when you're ready, you can perhaps put up the chart and.
I think we're ready to start voting. Yes. So Blerina, can you move to the next one?
Wow.
So here it appears tiny, but on the side of your screen, it will be easier to read. And if you can vote for those that you would like us to prioritize during these sessions to make sure that we bring along the experts and all of these delegates so that we can discuss specifically around these topics, that would be great. And after you vote, you will see on your screen, we will see a chart where we will be able to compare which are the ones that people are voting the most.
Okay.
Interesting. Changing quite a bit.
Okay. Well, you know me, I can't really see very well. I have to look at the screen. Are we getting a okay? Subsidies and funding seems to be coming up. Yeah. Oh.
Let's do a pie so that we can read it better.
Okay. You want me to go through this? Wow, this is a fairly widespread. I thought there would be a couple that would be more significant, but perhaps the top three. Thank you very much. This chart is really good. I hope you find it useful. There's four topics coming on top. Innovative green technology, obviously. Retrofitting subsidies and funding. So the money is. I'll be interested to hear from you in a minute now. How you are moving around the funding of these things, transforming the local building industry, which I suppose also implies innovation in technologies, materials, the capacity of companies to retrofit in an innovative and efficient way, and then retrofitting public and private buildings. Of course, that's a general topic that covers everything. Perhaps a bit lower, but not insignificant. Equity in climate action planning. Bring the social inclusion or the social equality into the equation, very important, and a net production of green energy. Obviously, energy efficiency is a key element towards net zero emissions, and we have a few cities with very ambitious objectives, so this is going to be key to them, every policy here. Energy efficient heritage assets, that's very close, for example, to my heart, honestly, coming from a 2,000-plus-year-old city. This is quite a challenge, but we want to keep who we are without without moving ahead in technology. So this is an interest point. And slightly minor, legislative and admin frameworks, improving biodiversity, and develop sustainable neighborhoods as a whole. Okay, so these are the main topics. We will be using these very much as the main seeds or the main topics for the activities of this thematic cluster in IURC North America. But what we'd like to do now for the rest of our, I think we have nearly 20 minutes if we want to use them up, where we could basically use these as a bit of a guide for you to put on this virtual table, this open table, the main challenges that you're facing around these topics, or the main topics, and hopefully even begin to share some of your, if not your whole programs, then at least how you're beginning to approach them or what you would like to share with other people. And for this, Susanna will be moderating a bit. If you can raise your hand or say in the chat, I'd like to say something, then Susanna will be moderating you. Agnes had to leave. I hear a noise from behind. I don't know if everybody does hear a noise, so is it?
We do, but I'm not sure where it's coming from.
It's better. So if you can make sure that while you're not talking, you can mute your mics, that'd be great. How do we go around this? Is there someone willing to say something first, Susanna?
So feel free to add any questions or comments around these topics in the chat. Or if you want to speak up, you can go to the upper right side of your screen, and it says there, share audio and a video, I believe. And then we will allow you to come into the stage and be live and have a more real discussion looking at each other's faces.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be like the annoying teacher who brings someone, here to to be the first.
Ariana is clarifying. Ariana is a hop-in master, and she says, click on the blue button, ask to share audio and video. Thank you, Ariana.
What would we do without Ariana? Thank you so much. I mean, I see that we have amongst us some cities with interesting challenges and ideas. In, for example, the other day, well, I see Karina there. I don't know if you can see us, Karina, from the city of Windsor in Canada, and they presented Mannheim is a partner in us. A couple of really interesting programs, and I really like the one. It's called DEAR, and it's on subsidizing retrofitting specifically. And I think it's a great idea how they're moving ahead with it. I don't know because funding has definitely come as one of the main topics there. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be great if Anna Karin, put you on the spot and mention what this deal is.
Yeah, it's called DEAR.
Oh, DEAR, no deal. Okay.
Yeah. No, it was really interesting. It's deep energy efficiency retrofit, the DEAR program to subsidize retrofitting mostly. Yeah, and reduce the cost of usage of energy.
So in terms of these, are there any cities that are dealing with subsidies or that have any recommendations for those that are struggling with subsidies and funding?
No, wouldn't have a reply there.
No. We don't in the chat, or someone trying to speak. Oh, we do. Pablo. Great.
Asia Australasia team.
Don Pablo.
Hello.
Hola.
Greetings from Bangkok. It's 11:22 p.m. here.
Well done. Thank you for being there.
Thank you. Sure. No, it's a very interesting topic, I think, because we in this part of the world, we did have a similar debate about a month ago with few cities, and so when speaking about subsidies, we had quite some interesting examples from Malaysia, from Penang State and the city of Georgetown and Seberang Perai, that were basically working with real estate owners and trying to identify or to tools for whenever they were developing like a green roof, for example, or when they're planting trees as part of a new project. So generally speaking, I mean it's quite late for me now, so it's a little bit tricky to remember everything. But what I can tell you is that first of all we did a summary of that in the website of IURC, so you can have a look at that in the thematic networks. And second, I think it would be interesting to try to establish some links, Susana, David, with your experiences over there. Of course, we have the time offset challenge, but maybe we can talk with each other. And we have distributed a so-called matrix for the cities to try to include what they are doing, and if you're interested in cooperating, and what could they bring to this. Maybe this is something that you can follow up, or we can follow up via email afterwards. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, that's a great idea, Pablo. Thank you very much. And as you know, in IURC, we're really trying to.
I have some audio problems sometimes here.
Oh.
We're trying to extend
I'm gonna do a refresh.
Beyond.
But I am ready.
Okay.
So I will refresh the website.
Okay. Sorry, Susana, you were saying?
No. that we're trying to connect globally, not only amongst those in the Americas like we're doing it today. So as Pablo just mentioned, it would be great if we can share as well some knowledge between Asia and the Americas. So should we go to the next topic, David?
Yeah, well, the one about funding was definitely an interesting one. Retrofitting in general, and is obviously, you know, the main one that we feel that people are trying to develop policies and to find ways to fund them or to make them everything socially equitable, respectful with the heritage. I know for sure that definitely the city of Ottawa are looking into developing programs for better buildings. That's what it's called, the Better Buildings Ottawa Network, for example, and the Better Homes Loan Program. Those are ideas that are very much headed towards supporting also the improvement of the standards of and the efficiency for the to lower the consumption of energy in the city of Ottawa. I know Melissa, friend Melissa, is somewhere around there. I hope you're listening, and if you want to add something specific on the challenges that it's putting through to you, that'd be great. If not, then definitely just to let you know that that's another Canadian city that is very much involved in this process, and I think they're really doing some or wanting to do some really interesting things. Yeah, Susanna, from your side in the USA, just to let you know before, of course, I already mentioned this. Susanna is mostly dealing with USA pairings, where I'm managing more the Canadian portfolio. Yeah, but
yes, and from the US, Kansas, which I also saw someone was here from Kansas, they have really interesting programs around these. And we are excited that our next event for Renovation Wave is likely to happen in Kansas City during their climate summit, where we will be visiting some of these solutions that we have been discussing, talking about retrofitting, talking about subsidies. So if there's someone from Kansas who wants to talk a little bit about that as well, or we would like to hear from those cities who actually see these as a challenge, and to explain how this is happening in your cities, what are the expectations, and then if someone else is willing to chip in and help us find some solutions.
Yeah, the Kansas will definitely be, I think, a turning point for our thematic cluster. We already will be sponsoring a number of cities to be there, and it'll still be open, you know, for some of you in the region to join us. We hope that'll be really productive in the spring of 2022. I would say that apart from retrofitting, subsidies, funding, technologies, and all that, and all the green technology, there's something else that I would definitely like to leave with you, perhaps as the last main point, is the importance of bringing the private sector into transforming the local building industry as well. We've talked about how difficult it is sometimes. The other day with Windsor, we were mentioning that, how sometimes you can get to know the technology, you can get to know the standards, the materials, the everything, but without the proper support or support to the private companies or the interest of the private sector, this is going to be really tricky to become part of our culture in terms of improving the efficiency in the usage of energy in our buildings. So again, as I said before, please think always of trying ways to involve not only the academia, not only ourselves as authorities, but also the private sector into the equation. Yeah, it does improve. You heard possibly about the cases in the main presentation this morning of Almeria, Los Cabos, how bringing the water management company of one European city ended up in a 50 million deal to invest in improving the water distribution systems of the partner city in Mexico. Now, this kind of thing happens, or at least it is fostered or facilitated. So by all means, think about that, okay? Anyway.
And this brings me just to think as well, David, between green jobs, workforce development, that is something that Northern Virginia Regional Commission, which I know Dale is here as well, have been talking a lot about. So we cannot be just thinking about these issues as standalone or in silos, but how they are all interconnected, as you said, involving the private sector, and especially seeing how this involves equity and really empowering those in the city to take ownership, but also to learn these new trade and really contribute to the green jobs.
Okay, so we thank you for participating in bringing up the main issues in this field that you have to deal with, that you would like to deal with. We will definitely analyze more deeply about how they are going to become the topics for this for activities at a networking thematic cluster level. I think we're really pretty much about to close the session for today. We again thank Mannheim and Ostrovidnia for their presentations and your participation in adding value to this today. Just a couple of things to say. There will be a number of webinars and in-person thematic events like the one that Susanna just mentioned in Kansas next year. So please follow us for everything related to the Green Deal and its impact on cities and regions at our website. This Renovation Wave thematic cluster will go ahead in bringing solutions, ideas, and knowledge to you all that we hope is valuable. So definitely stay tuned. You'll hear from us on the website and directly at our contacts. I would just like to say that I don't know. I think I've seen Ana Guayarte. Ana, I know you're there. We saw your video before. I don't know if you would like to say a word to just to close, to wrap this up, because we're about to say goodbye. Maybe just listening somewhere. No, okay, for the EU delegation. But anyway, Ana Guayarte, who's in your list of contacts there, is as you saw before, our European Commission or European Union program manager at the delegation. There she is. Yes,
Anna is joining the stage.
Thank you so much for digging in. I know we assaulted you. This wasn't planned, but if you could say hi to everyone, we're just about to wrap this up.
Yes, no, thank you very much. I've been trying to follow as much as possible this afternoon here, or this morning here, sorry, this afternoon in Europe. And no, congratulations. I think it's very, very interesting what you are proposing. Congratulations also to the presentation. That I think it was great and very innovative and creative. That is great. And it's really my pleasure to be able to be following up as much as possible with all of you, all the events that we are going to be organizing under this IORC North America. We are going to be asking a lot of from you because we really need your knowledge. We really need your experiences. But we hope we will be giving you as much as we are, or even more, that we are asking for you. So I really, I'm looking forward. I really appreciate your interest, your support. I think we have a great work for us in these 2 years and a half, or more or less, that we have still of the project. And I'm looking forward to continue working with you. Thank you very much to all the organizers of this day today. And I hope you can still enjoy tomorrow, even if it's the time-wise is going to be a little bit difficult for North America. But I'm sure for the European colleagues, it will be okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Ana. Muchas gracias. Okay, just we're saying goodbye. Very briefly, you can check in the chat that's open to everyone that we got a couple of replies from the friends we mentioned. Melissa from Ottawa was saying how they're piloting a loan program for up to 3 years for home energy efficiency retrofits to support local residents to reduce energy consumption and greenhouse gas emissions. It's a zero-interest 20-year loans of up to 125,000 euro, which is not bad. So we'd like to hear more in the next meeting of this cluster. Okay, and of course, things like this, initiatives that are working, will be up as takeaways and our case studies in our website. So don't forget, if you feel like that, to check for specific output, because that's our aim, to create a truly useful, valuable, and alive library for you, and access to direct contact. So thank you very much for that. Also, Anne-Karine Johnson from Nova Scotia added some information about sustainable and circular design, and on how designing products for recycling. And you'll see that next year we'll be organizing this thematic cluster event, this networking event on plastic waste reduction and waste management, circular economy in Ottawa, in Canada. More to come in the next few months. So thank you very much for being there. We'll leave you there.
David, just to not leave out our US delegates, Ariana Vito and Alessandro Minella, Ariana from Santa Monica and Alessandro from Aurora. They have also added some comments in the chat. We're really glad to see that you're starting to network. Ariana is asking about more cities that are incentivizing and mandating fuel switching in new and existing buildings. And we've heard these a lot too. And then Alessandro Minella also offering some information on funding for urban renovation, which often can be used as tool for nature-based solutions and economic development, and offering also some information on the city of Aurora. So also for all of you that you probably have already our emails, and if not, I'll add in the chat right now the email for IURC North America. Feel free to send us an email and we will facilitate those connections.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. So to set up connections, to open a network that can bring new solutions, ideas, or experiences to you. Okay, so I think that's really all from us for today. You'll be hearing from us very, very soon. As Ana was saying, Sana Guayarte will be asking for a lot, but we hope to give you a lot too. We hope this was fun, that it was useful and valuable, and as Bogart said, that it is the beginning of a beautiful relationship. Yeah, we really hope to see you around very soon. But for today, thanks a lot. The last thing I want to say is that this whole event is not just finished with us now. For the next, I don't know if half hour or hour or so, you can see to your left of your screen a little symbol of a handshake saying networking. Now, if you go into that room, what you will find is a kind of speed date area. This is like an expo, where you have a room where you have people sitting down, and there'll be cities, some regional delegates, of course, but mostly people that could find it interesting to exchange ideas, solutions, or situations with you, or not so much, but it could happen. So it's fairly open, very dynamic. There's like 3 to, what is it, Susanna? Is it 3 to 4 minute encounters that you can extend or you can cut shorter? It's very much about finding things now that there's so many people connected from the Americas and the European Union. So make use of it. I think it's fun. And who knows what you can find up there. If you come up with something useful that you want to follow up, let us know at the IURC team, and we'll help you build or make stronger your connections and your network. Okay. I think Susanna, am I forgetting anything? Oh, I'm forgetting something. Okay.
If they want to learn more about the other geographical areas or about IURC North America, please go to the expo. It's below those handshaking, and you will see there the 4 different regions when we have some presentations and videos. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Susana. Thank you all for being there. Ana, muchas gracias. Jerker, of course, Pedro.
Thank you.
Did a great job today, so hope to see you very soon. Hope you enjoyed today. Bye for now.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Buen día.
Ciao.
Yeah.